we're all just trying to gel, and usually you're gelling around the right time, and that team in the other locker room is gelling at the right time. They've been gelling since Christmas. I don't want to be too cliche, but I don't have a lot of answers for how you make up time, from October until now, when usually teams would be gelling and things would be feeling good.
That seems to really rub both.
I ain't gonna lie, man. Yeah, welcome to another episode of Clangin and Bang with Mikey, episode 71. And what I just heard basically, confirms why the Nets are what they are. Um, Anybody who knows me knows that I love a hoop, man. It's like there's two things actually three things I would sacrifice sleep for: music, hoop, and maybe that special girl. But Kyrie's right. How do you make up time in jail from October to now? You don't. But you and KD have two things that the rest of that squad don't have: championship experience, and it's a game, bruh. It's like, but anybody who's watched Brooklyn play, whether it's this postseason or during the season, the one thing they don't do is play defense. And it's like it was pissing me off last night because I was watching the game, and Tatum kept coming from the baseline weak side, and anybody who knows hoop knows what I'm talking about, man. It's like they doing that because um, the defense is doing that because number one is like they know where the passes are gonna go, and number two, the weak side is like the offensive player is not expecting you to be there, in that particular spot. So yeah, man, hoop, it's my first love, you know. Actually, nah, music and hoop is my first love, man. It's like it just there's something about it. I can sit there, I can watch a game, I can tell you, what defense they playing in and why they playing it this way or whatever it is. Uh, so yeah, but yeah, man, to get on with this podcast or to get started with this podcast, bro. What we're gonna talk about today is having those difficult conversations, man. Having those conversations where you know it's gonna hurt the other person. I mean, and you don't mean maliciously, because nobody wants to do that, right? But having that conversation to basically tell the other person how you really feel, you know. And I had that conversation recently, and I told I told the person, is like, yo, like the door's ajar, but it's never locked. It's like the door's almost closed, but it's never locked. And me and her, yeah, it is what it is. And so it was fun. It was funny because every time we get on the phone with each other, it's guaranteed like minimum 2 hour conversation. And yeah, um, I'm just thinking, man. It's like I had a lot of people around me die recently. Um, People who I thought, they weren't gonna die, but they end up dying. Um, I had a lot of people get burned or get played or get switched up on by friends and family, and it's like I started looking around and I'm like, I can't trust this person, can't trust that person, and and so yeah, I just and I was told by this person that she's like, you think a lot. I was like, yeah, I do. Um, my problem is that I come up with scenarios in my head, because it's like if you don't communicate with me, I'm gonna fill in the blanks myself. And when I do that, some of the shit is right, but some of the shit is extremely wrong too. Um, yeah, man. At the end of the day, anything's fixable. Anything is fixable. Um, and There's one person, man. I love her to death. And yeah, and she definitely feels the same way I do, and it's like, yeah. I don't know what to say to that, man. I really don't. Like, I'm trying to, organize my thoughts and have a, have an in-depth conversation in here. But yeah, I just know for a fact that you gotta have them difficult conversations, because if you don't have them conversations, you're always gonna wonder what if. It's well, in the streets we call it shooting our shot. Or it's called vibes, whatever it is, and it's like the vibes with us between the two of us have always been there. You know, the vibe between us two, between the two of us has always been there. And yeah, y'all ever seen that movie Brown Sugar? Yeah, just picture me and Shouty as Tay Diggs and Sarah Lampton. That's pretty much what it is. Minus not even minus the music, because yeah, you know that's what a relationship is built around. That doesn't help that I'm a producer and shit. So so yeah. But anyway, man, you got a bunch of games on tap today. We got my Bulls. Then we got the Dubs and Denver. I think the Dubs, boy, Jordan Poole, he a beast. That he a grown ass man. Put it that way. And you got Phoenix. You got Phoenix, New Orleans. I think New Orleans got a shot because it's like, Booker's out and whatnot. And I think there's one more game. Let me double check. I think there's one more game. There's one more game today. I think there's 4 total. Let me find out. But yeah, man. Speaking of the music, I'm still working on the album. I'm actually finishing up. Yeah, there's 4 games on today. Actually, yeah, 4 games. It's the Dubs in Denver, Miami and ATL, and New Orleans and Phoenix. I think in New Orleans is like they may not have their roster at full strength, but it's definitely it's definitely something that could be interesting to see. And imagine if Zion come back too, and then you got the Grizzlies tomorrow too, so that's an interesting series as well. So, and there's that. So shit. Yeah. But yeah, have them difficult conversations, bro, because you don't know. You know, I'd rather have a concrete answer than what if, right? I'd rather have things of that nature. So there's that. And so yeah, I think it's important to actually communicate with people and actually have open dialogue, no matter how difficult it is. Like you should always have that open dialogue. Like I don't give a fuck, who it is or what it is. Have that open lane of communication, because you need to have that open lane of communication because it's gonna help you get better. One thing I did ask her, because I ain't talked to her in a minute. And so I sent her a voice message, and so she responded back and she called me. I simply asked her like, "Yo, I asked her for some clarification because I needed to know." I said, well, for the next woman who walks into my life, I need to know, what I did wrong in this situation so I can get better for the next person." And so she explained it and everything, and it's like, and in terms of the phone conversation, everything went great. She did say one thing that I've been saying this, like in this entire time. I was not shocked that she finally said it, but I was like, yeah, she goes like, you're my best friend. She's like, you're the dude I come to for anything and everything. She's like, what you did, it hurt me. Like it hurt me real bad because it's like, she's like, I didn't, and then she's like dealing with everything that we was dealing with, and then you were just coming at me, you know, you unloaded the clip, and it's like you just kept shooting, and like, and she's like, before I could even um come up with an answer to one question, I'm getting bombarded with three or four of them. I mean, back to back to back. It's like you just kept coming at me, and to the point where I didn't know how to deal with it because it's just so much. And she was like, and then she told me like, hey, I didn't mean to say what I said about us being no friendship there, because that's not true. But she's like, I just didn't know how to deal with everything because you were just coming at me, and I couldn't formulate an answer fast enough, and it's like you just like, it's almost like you had everything written down. I was like, and I didn't. I just, I'm a very cerebral individual. So, with that being said, with our situation, man, and like I said in the previous podcasts, bro, I love this girl to death, and there's nothing I wouldn't do for her, and it's crazy, like, we got that Jada and Pac love, but it feels like more like a Jada and Will Smith type of love right now because we kind of toxic, man. But that's my girl and I love her, man. And yeah, and like with that being said, I just think it's important to have conversations, man. I think it's important to actually realize, who's important in your life and whatever it is. Because I swear to God, that girl, even though she drives me nuts and I drive her nuts, we act like we're not gonna be there for each other, man. And the interpretation of the situation kind of got it fucked up because I thought one thing and she was thinking something else, and it's like, and me being who I am, I'm looking at the patterns. I'm like, yo, boom, 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 this shit don't match up, yo, whatever it is, yada yada yada, whoop de whoop, and yeah, when that shit didn't match up, I was like, I bet, fuck this, and I'm actually still working on the album. I should be have most of the tracks either finished, not if not by the day, by tomorrow, so I got done. So total 8 tracks, and so we just gonna rap, crank it out today. I'ma holla at y'all, man. Hope y'all keeping in the 4Ps, private player, positive pushing. See y'all next week. Love y'all. Ghost.